Good morning. Today is Friday, the 21st of December, 2012. Here's the news in Panama that's worth talking about today. Starting off with La Prensa. There's only one big story going on in Panama right now. That is the designation of Jose Ayub Prado, who is currently the Attorney General. He's being elevated to the Supreme Court, and Ana Belfon as the new Attorney General to replace him. Their ratification, which is now being discussed in the National Assembly, is really the only real big story that's going on today. Most of the news headlines in almost all of the newspapers and all over the TV, in one way, somehow or another, were related to these designations. So you'll see that as we go through this. They have a live video feed coming out of the Credentials Commission of the National Assembly, where their designations are being discussed in the first debate. And that's coming out of La Prensa. Okay. There's a guy named Andres Rodriguez, who is a leader of the teachers union, and he has been a thorn in the side of successive governments for years, and it looks like they're finally going to actually fire him and get rid of him. They have at least 4 or 5 different disciplinary actions against him. He's been removed from his position. They've announced that they've terminated him. They're not paying him anymore. He can't go on campus. And of course, he's a political figure because he's the leader of the teachers union. So he's saying it's reprisals. But then, of course, the Ministry of Education is saying he's doing things on campus that are illegal. Therefore, he's being fired. Okay. In the Estrella, Jose Isabel Blandon, he is a Panamanista lawmaker. He's a deputy in the National Assembly, and he says that there will be arrests of Panaministas in 2013. He's probably right. Ana Belfon was probably designated or appointed to the position of the Attorney General specifically because she's not afraid to go after high-profile cases or political cases. There's no doubt that Ricardo Martinelli has control over now the Supreme Court, the National Assembly, and he's had the Attorney General's office ever since they got Ana Matilde Gomez out of there. And there's cases and complaints pending against Blandon. So now, here's the thing. There are now 5 appointees on the Supreme Court that were put there by Ricardo Martinelli, and with that gives a majority. So now they can go after guys in the National Assembly. There's always been this kind of because the way it works, the way they've got it set up, the National Assembly can investigate the Supreme Court justices, and the Supreme Court justices can investigate the lawmakers in the National Assembly. But now that Martinelli's got 5, he can go after a guy like Blandon for the first time. So, yeah, he's probably predicting his own arrest in 2013, and that wouldn't be actually surprising if that occurs. Okay, switching over to La Crítica. There's a couple of bloody murders that occurred overnight. In Arihan, there was a guy who was found dead behind basically a push. He was stabbed to death. There was some people heard a fight. They found this guy's body. He's dead, naked, behind this push, and they're investigating that to see, who killed him. Also, over in the prison in Cologne, 2 inmates in the prison were shot. Now, this is something that's kind of weird, and it might happen around Latin America, but it seems strange to me. It's common for there to be guns in prison. Yeah, they smuggle them in. They throw them over the fence. They do whatever. After these guys were shot, they did a lockdown and a search of the prison, and they found 6 handguns. Anyway, 2 guys were shot in prison. Okay, now on Telemetro. Roberto Eisenman, the guy who gave the $29,000 truck to Silvia Carrera, the leader of the Indians up there in Chiriquí, he says that it's all part of a plan to arrest him. It's part of the government's plan to arrest him. And in the complaint against him, they have it specifically as an assault or an attempt against state security. So that's the key phrase in what they've alleged against him. And what they're doing is they're tying the donation of the truck together with the protests in Chiriquí related to the anti-mining thing. And of course, he's saying they're out to get me. Well, yeah, they probably are. Okay, Jose Ayu Prado. Now, when they started to debate his designation for the Supreme Court, one of the things that Blandón said, it's like, well, we can't, we have to do Ayu Prado first, because we can't put in a new attorney general, because we've already got an attorney general, so the attorney general has to go up first before we can replace him. Well, that kind of makes sense. So Ayu Prado turned around and resigned. It's just one of those things. Now there's a spot, so you can. It's just they're playing their little games. It doesn't really matter, because in the National Assembly, the guys from the Cambio Democrático and Ricardo Martinelli's guys have got a flat-out majority. They control it. They can do whatever they want. So it's going to occur. Okay, over to the Siglo quickly. They have taken license plates off of 318 vehicles. They continue to do these things where they're looking for people that are driving with expired plates. What they're doing is they're stopping the car, pulling the plates, towing the car away, and giving you a $50 fine. So you have to pay the $50 fine. You have to pay for the towing. To get your car back, you have to go get your license plates. So in other words, what they're saying is, we're not going to let you drive around with expired plates anymore. So go get your paperwork done, and then you can come back and you can get your car, and you can pay for the towing, and you can pay the fine. So they're basically just enforcing the law. So heads up, and make sure your plates are up to speed. Okay, the Senan, which is basically the National Naval Air Service, has announced that they are going to be putting on a push over the holidays. And what always happens is the drug traffickers try to take advantage of the Christmas and New Year's holidays to get stuff through, because they're thinking that all the cops are at home eating turkey and hams with their families. Okay, and then overnight there were 3 different accidents. There's a picture here of a taxi flipped on its side. One of them in Domingo Diaz, one of them in the Southern Corridor, and one of them in the area of La Pulida. Traffic accidents during the night. The reason I threw this up is because starting now, especially this weekend through Christmas, there will be more drunk drivers on the road. The danger level of just driving, even if you're not drunk, the danger level of some other drunken idiot plowing into you increases exponentially. There will be a lot more drunk drivers on the road now through until after New Year's. So heads up for that. Be more cautious, drive defensively, etc., etc. Okay, that's it. I'm out. Have a great day, and bye.